Welcome to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. Hope you're having a great day as we continue to celebrate all the amazing people who are working across the state of Mississippi to make this such a great place to live, work, and play. Hey, listen, if you missed my conversation with Andy Taggart yesterday, I really want to encourage you to go listen to it. He's a resident of coastal Mississippi now and has such a wonderful history, political history in Mississippi dating back to Chief of Staff for Governor Fordyce, has been co-author of a couple of books about the political scene in Mississippi. It was just a great conversation, and he's down here on the coast making his contributions here now, and that's one I really want to encourage you to listen to. Also had, it's been interesting to talk to a wide range of people, but one of the people that I enjoy the most is the opportunity to talk to the mayors of coastal Mississippi. And I said Andy was yesterday. I actually didn't mean that. It was last Thursday that Andy was on, and I really want to encourage you to go look at that. But yesterday was Fofo Gillich and Jay Trapani, Fofo the mayor of Biloxi, and Jay Trapani, the mayor of Waveland. And it's always so interesting to dive into their worlds and stay in touch with them and hear what they're working on. And, here's Fofo, over $1 billion in casino revenue for the city of Biloxi. Really, we actually went into how much of the tax revenue actually comes back to the city of Biloxi. And it's not as much as you would think, because so much of it is dedicated to the state and education and other municipalities along the coast. But it was an interesting contrast to go from talking about those big numbers to Jay Trapani in Waveland, who is equally proud of his city as this city rebuilds from being ground zero for the worst natural disaster in American history. And the progress that they're making there across the board is really awesome. And to hear Jay's excitement about that, it's really cool. And then of course I had last Wednesday I had Kenny Holloway, the mayor of Ocean Springs, and we went through the latest at Ocean Springs. Ocean Springs is hitting on a bunch of cylinders, and it's really exciting to see, every city of coastal Mississippi. I love having the mayors on and sharing what's going on in their world, that's for sure. Hey, listen, we got a good show today. Before we get to our guest, Robbie Carter, he's an event director for numerous tournaments, including some really important tournaments, fishing tournaments here in coastal Mississippi, continues to grow his business. It's a great story, and we've told it before. We're going to get an update from Robbie about the work that he's doing across the United States, for that matter, with fishing tournaments, and also specifically about how the tournaments here in coastal Mississippi are going. But before we do that, I want to bring Cal Curley, the producer of the show, in for a second. And first of all, I'll just say good morning to you, my friend. I'm doing great. Kyle's at the studio today. Some days he's at the studio. Some days has his master controller system studio at his house. He has the ability to do this show in so many different ways. But looking back on the Saints game from a week ago when they lost to the Rams, that was hard to watch because they had a chance to win it. And if they win it, I know their chances are slight, but it still would have been fun to hang in there with them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you always want to see them win at home. I mean, it doesn't matter what the circumstances are as far as the season's concerned. You would like to see a home victory. That's where you're supposed to be able to, really rally and, if anything, just go undefeated at home, and that makes the fans happy and gives everyone hope. But, it
didn't happen.
No.
And Taysom Hill gets ACL tear and
another pass interference not called against the Rams in the Dome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. But we'll hang in there with them throughout the rest of the season and enjoy some Saints football and look for big change to come once again during the offseason. That's for sure. Hey, listen, Cal, I wanted to circle back with you. We haven't talked about that about this issue on this show, but most of a lot of people who listen to the show are fans of WCPR. WCPR has been number one in its demographic year after year after year. It's really an incredible story for how many years now, Kyle?
We're working on 25.
25 years. It has been this real – all the music for WCPR is picked locally. It's run locally. It's always been run that way from the day it was launched. have folks involved in that channel who are still with us today. It's really an incredible story. It's a unique story in America and they get a lot of attention from across the United States with the approach that they're taking. They launched a morning show. Most of you who listen to WCPR know that. They launched a morning show with 3 personalities, and it has been tremendously successful since they launched it. Unfortunately, a little over a week ago, one of the personalities, Lucas, just a beloved member, been working for this company for over 20 years, passed away suddenly. And it's not the first time that this team has had to deal with a friend and coworker passing away. It's just tough, man. I know it's been tough for you guys because Lucas was such a part of your world, Kyle. And, how's the team doing?
I think everyone's had time to process it in their own way, and I think everybody's starting to do better. I think getting back to work and getting some kind of normalcy kind of helps that. There's still the empty feeling there, especially for Riley and Dan, who are left doing the morning show right now. Lucas was the driving force behind it. He sat in the captain's chair, if you will, and he's not there anymore. And, everybody kind of had to do their own thing and process it. I mean, we've worked with him. I've worked with him since like 1999. So,
wow. Yeah.
It's,
on top of that, Kyle, not just his contributions to the morning show for WCPR, but he was program manager for the Monkey. And, the Monkey's got a hell of a following in coastal Mississippi.
Yeah, it does. And, that's another station that he's been a part of since 1999 when he started working with us. That's where he started at. And so, yeah, it's a big void. Not only his presence in the building, but just every aspect that he was a driving force behind. And so now we're just we're trying to pick up the ball and roll with it and, see what happens, let everything work out in the end. But right now it's just, trying to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's rare, as we've discussed in the past, to have a team of people who have been together as long as you guys have been together. I mean, it's extraordinarily remarkable in the radio industry today. And unfortunately for you, man, as my dear friend and the producer of this show, this is not the first time you've had to deal with this, is it?
No, it's not. It's kind of one of those things you really are ready for it to stop. But, it's kind of one of those, you hate to say it, but we're getting at that age. And, most of us are late 40s, early 50s, unless everybody's been taking care of themselves, or at least so we thought. We really thought Lucas was probably more healthy than any of us. But that just goes to show that it could happen at any time to anyone, and you just do what you can and make sure you try and kick yours down the road the furthest. So,
yeah, I know. Boy, just well said. You're right. I mean, that's one of the reasons as I get older, I talk more on the show about living in the moment, because that's something we should do, and we should care about the people around us. And one of the things I did recently, Kyle, with Cammie coming back from maternity leave, God bless Cammie and her new child, I went back through my Rolodex. It's literally not a Rolodex, but it's my address book in my phone that is full of a lot of names from my time as publishers, across multiple states, et cetera. And I was just, working back through it and getting some new names for the show and inviting some people back to the show that hadn't been on in a while, and something you need to do every now and then just to make sure we're not leaving somebody out. And it was great. And one of the things I did when I was going through that, one example is the mayor of Mobile is a really good friend of mine, Sandy Stimson, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. And I sent him a note to say hello and to tell him I was thinking about him, and hadn't talked to Tim Holloman in a while, and I sent him a note, and we had a great communication back and forth. In fact, he's going to join me on the show. But I did that over and over again. As I would focus on a name, I'd think, gosh, I got to reach out and just check on them and see how they're doing. And it was a great process. I wonder, I got to do more of that. I got to take the time to do more of that, because the one thing that hit me, Kyle, as I was going down this list, is there are a lot of people still in my Rolodex who aren't here anymore. A lot. And I told Ann, I said, gosh, Ann, I just, when you sit over a couple of days and go through these lists, you realize how many people you miss that you can't say hello to anymore.
Yep.
And I know that's what you guys are going through. And God bless you.
It hits hard too, because it happened right before Thanksgiving. You're going into the Christmas holidays, and it's already kind of an emotional time of year. And it's just another layer, and we got about 36 seconds left. But I'm sorry, when you say Rolodex, I really think your Rolodex is a true Rolodex, like the size of a tire, like not a big tire, but at least like a Volkswagen tire, 14-inch rim, just place cards all the way through it. That's a big one. You say Rolodex.
It's a big one. It's a big one. God bless you, my friend. Listen, we'll come back with Robbie Carter when we get on the other side. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show. Thanks for hanging in there with us for the first segment, as Kyle and I reflected a bit on Lucas from the morning show, who passed away recently. And the team, across the board, the team has had to deal with the loss of a longtime friend and coworker. I got a chance to have Lucas on this show, actually, with the entire morning crew a few months ago, and we actually posted that at the Ricky Matthews Show. So if you missed that, you go do a search Ricky Matthews Show, the morning show, or in WCPR, and you can watch that discussion. You can see how critical Lucas was to that team. And God bless Riley and Dan as they go forward without Lucas. And Kenny Vest will be working with the team to try to figure out what their next move is going to be, because they're very committed to having a morning show, a successful morning show, and this too shall pass. It shall, for sure. Okay, now let's shift gears. Listen, I've had the opportunity to visit with Robbie Carter before. His dad and I and other friends of mine and I had the opportunity to be super involved in the Southern Kingfish Association tournaments in the very early days. And Robbie was just a young dude then, and he would fish with us from time to time. And, obviously it got into his DNA. And as time went on, and we told the whole story on this show before, Robbie actually went into the business, and he now has tournaments all over the country and some of the most important tournaments here in coastal Mississippi. So I thought we'd circle back with Robbie and see how things are going with him and just check in. So without any further ado, let me welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show, Robbie Carter. I guess, how do you describe, do you have an actual name for your business, Robbie?
Yeah, it's like when your assistant asked me for a bio, like you give us like a synopsis. So what we did was last year we put together a brand called Classic Fishing Events. It's still in the making, but that way people it's like a one-stop shop to see everything that we have going on. So I've recently, the last 8 months, I partnered with a good family friend of ours, Gretchen David. You might know her father, Rusty David. And she has helped me clean up everything I have going on to bring it up to speed, make it more professional, and just more visible to everyone out there that's interested in what we have going on.
So you've been doing it for how long now?
I'd say 8 years full time.
Yeah.
And this expanded.
Yeah, that's incredible. You're adding Key West.
Key West. So Key West stems from, as you know, what's going on this week is the SK Nationals. Boats coming from all over the place. That's where a lot of the stuff that we do now evolved. So that's what, I told this to a boater a couple of days ago when they were asking me about doing the event in Key West. I was like, one of the things I want to hold on to is the morning race. So when you go by the Beau Rivage and you hook that left and go south, which these boats this week will do, it's an adrenaline rush like no other. So we're going to bring that to Key West and expand what we started here.
So hey, let's do this. We'll go through each one of them, and there's a long list of other things we can talk about as well. But let's go through so people can have a sense of the scope and scale of your business. Go through. Again, we won't talk about each one of them, but just kind of list them. What are the tournaments that you have?
Yeah, I actually had to write them out.
Yeah.
So the first one we'll start off with is Kingmaster of the Keys, and that'll be late January. Then we'll start Louisiana Tuna and Wahoo Classic, and that's a multi-marina event that's based out of Venice. I work with Plaquemines Parish Tourism Board on that event, and that runs from February 1st to March 30th. A week later, we go to the Louisiana Nutria Rodeo down in Venice, and that is as off the wall as it sounds. We recently had New York Times reach out to us last week to cover it. And then we'll go along for a few months, and then we start the Louisiana Gulf Coast Billfish Classic. And that will kick off what we recently created in the past year. It's called the Louisiana Champions Cup. That's a big project that I've been working on with Louisiana State Tourism, Plaquemines Tourism, and the mighty fine fishermen and tournament directors of South Louisiana. That'll take us to the Swordfish Showdown, and that's a month-long event that we'll do throughout the month of May, where teams pick their best 2 days to go kill the biggest swordfish they can find. Gulf Coast Masters takes us to Mobile Big Game Club, an event that I partnered with them on. They've been doing it for a long time. It used to be called the Memorial Day, and that evolved into the Gulf Coast Masters when we rebranded it a few years ago. And then our big baby, the one and only, our pride and joy, is the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, and that'll be June 2nd through the 8th. And we have recently purchased an insurance policy for breaking the state white marlin record. So if you can pull that off, that's an extra $100,000. Then we'll go to Texas, Port Aransas. We'll do the Texas Gulf Coast Billfish Classic in July. We're still trying to nail down a date. We're looking at early July, possibly late June for that event. And then we'll do the Boston Bluefin Classic. And that is an event. This is something we've been revamping over the past 5 years. Teams can now compete from Montauk to Maine, challenging each other over the first 3 days allowable by NOAA in that region for bluefin tuna. So that's a fun event. A lot of the Wicked Tuna guys get in it. I mean, these guys grind. These are true fishermen that we have up there.
Yeah, what's interesting, I've been up in that region, obviously, but I have not fished there. But I paid very close attention to it over many, many years. It feels different when you're there, doesn't it?
It does. It's not like the South. It is beautiful in its own respect, but the fishing, it's like tuna fishing down in Venice. You go out, you come back the same day, you're in Venice. You can do that out of downtown Boston, Rhode Island. There's just a different scenery.
Yeah, it's very, very unique, and the fishing can be really spectacular. But, honestly, though, when you compare it to fishing here, I often say on my outdoor show that Mississippi is the capital of the outdoors in America. What we have access to from here, whether it be duck hunting or deer hunting or turkey hunting or, you name it, it is we're in a special place here in Mississippi. And then you think about offshore and backwater fishing. When you put all those elements together, it is it's a special place. We have access to some incredible fisheries here, don't we?
We do, and entertainment to take care of everyone when they come here. I mean, we've got everything that people seek. We've just got to get the word out and continue to do so.
Yeah, when I talk to the folks, I'll give you an example. When I talk to Rimmer Covington at for Shaggy's and what they're doing with the Shaggy Harbor docks down in Pasquarchan. One of the of course he's fished out of Venice before, and all those guys that are part of that chartered docks project down in the Pasquarchan Harbor, is that the big selling feature here is not only is the fishing great, but you get to go and enjoy. Within a walk of where people are coming in for fishing, you can enjoy some of the best restaurants and great entertainment. That has always been sort of the calling card. If you go to Venice, you're going to have great fishing. You may have some wonderful camaraderie, but you're not going to shop anywhere. You're not going to go to very many great restaurants. It's just different. And it is a competitive advantage for us, isn't it?
Well, so, going to the SK Nationals that's happening this week, these guys are, it's not our event per se, but when these guys come to town, they're our fishing family. So hey, when you guys are, done washing up the boat, come to downtown Ocean Springs and see what we have going on. It's not all about the casinos. There's a lot more going outside the casinos, that our area has to offer. Try the restaurants, bring your wife and kids. We've got something for everybody.
Yeah. So I remember doing an SKA event in Key West. What led to you opening that as an opportunity? Because that really, going from Boston to Key West and all the way over to Texas, you're covering the waterfront now. One
of our fellow fishermen, you might know him, named Jim Nassett. He was known for bringing his boat up that had the 3 different motors. He'd have an Evinrude, a Mercury, and a Yamaha in this thing. It was a marketing gimmick he had, but he sold a ton of engines. This guy's very smart and loves king fishing. He's a veteran. He introduced me to the CEO of Sloppy Joe's, I'd say about 2 years ago. And we were in touch. They wanted us to do an event in the Keys in January. There's another event group that had something going on down there. And, I didn't want to step on their toes. Well, recently some things developed and some opportunities came about. We were able to open up those lines of communication and have the event down there. Mm-hmm. So I reached back out to the CEO. He got in touch with the AMB Docks Harbor Master, and we're like, hey, let's make this happen. And we just put some teasers out there, trying to get some dates down, and it's become a reality. So over the next couple of weeks, we'll rebuild our website and make it very Key West friendly.
Well, it's so exciting. Listen, if I were to say what is our home away from home, we spent a lot of time. We love Turks and Caicos, but we love Key West. In fact, we're planning another trip down to Key West. But Sloppy Joe's and A&B Marina, I mean, that's the best 2 partners you could have in something involving Key West.
Absolutely. I mean, they're like monuments down there.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, when we come back on the other side, we'll continue our conversation with Robbie Carter. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank Studio. We have, I'm thrilled to have my friend Robbie Carter. I knew him when he was just a kid, a teenager, fishing with me and Terry Waldrop during king mackerel tournaments, and we enjoyed having him with us. Anytime he wanted to come, he could join us. It was always nice having an extra set of hands. But you look back on those times with your dad at that time, the Isle of Capri. And it made a huge impression on you, didn't it, Robbie?
A lifelong. Like, it was life-altering.
So, and your dad sort of had a vision for it. I think some people were wondering, okay, now how's this going to fit? How are fishing tournaments going to fit with the Isle of Capri? And he just had a vision. He understood that it was going to be a positive, didn't he?
It was, centered around entertainment. And, it's a fishing party, bringing people together, and everyone sharing their favorite pastime, the camaraderie, the competition. It was meant for success.
It really was. And then, one of the interesting evolutions has been, I remember when the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic was it was a little club tournament, and they got together and they just went offshore and they had their little tournament. What that has evolved into is gargantuan, isn't it?
In an industry.
In the entire industry. So tell us about it. Tell us what it has become.
Well, it started as, getting people together. Now it's, social media. You're just an outlet, not just for entertainment, but, nonstop information. People, hey, let's go to Biloxi. Now you've got people flying in from Colorado, California, whether it's, coming to participate or just be in the vicinity of everything going on. And then it led to sponsors, Garmin International and Yamaha outboards, not just on a local level, but an international level, have become our partners in giving us more exposure for the events that we have. It's just a great network, especially if a sponsor wants to get directly to the consumer. We have a platform for them.
What's really interesting, and you can explain to people how this works. So if you haven't been to watch sort of the beginning, for example, of the Mississippi Gulf Coast Billfish Classic, you're missing this kind of iconic scene as some of these boats are worth mega millions, as they're doing the kind of boat parade by the casinos, coming out of Biloxi and then working their way into the Mississippi Sound and headed offshore. But that is a really iconic scene, isn't it?
They're bringing motherships now. Harvey Gulf brought in a 140-foot boat last year called Relentless, to entertain the governor of Louisiana and other special guests that were coming through. And then they had their, 76-foot Viking, I think it was, parked right next to it to go fishing. And then you have people like John Gonsolin, who brings his houseboat from the bayou, parks his Viking next to it, and you've got a helicopter pad. It's changed.
It's a little. You know what's interesting? We had that run of the offshore boat racing, and the helicopters and all the sort of the ambiance around that, the sort of richness and the grandeur of it all. But this has kind of become that, hasn't it?
It really has. But now it's designed to, fit many people across the board. You don't have to have, that level of, equipment and, vessels, what have you. But you've got the guys who can call a well-established charter out of South Louisiana, round up the buddies for the week, and, pay the entry fee and go trophy hunting and try and take one of these pros out the window. That's what I like about the Billfish Classic is the biggest fish wins. So you can have a very high skill set and give yourself the best chance to win. You can also get lucky and run over the right one and take it all.
Yeah, so cool. And locally, I'm thinking of people like David Machado, who's been a regular fishing. We've got some good local participation, don't we?
You do, and you got Mike Diaz with Perseverance. Cool, just a lot of locals that have been around. You've also known since probably they were my age. That have really grown up in the sport. But these guys travel now. They really get the word out. They've been very, very loyal supporters of ours from the beginning. And so it's not just events that we do here. They're now traveling to events that we do in Louisiana, events that we do in Alabama and elsewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. One of the things I remember from our previous conversation, one of the things that you figured out really early on is it was in relation to the way you would take photos during these events. That was kind of, you fished in them and then you started taking photos for the events and getting involved in different ways. You came to really understand that the key to success in this industry is relationships. And you did a masterful job of developing relationships. And then social media became part of it. And it's just been like these building blocks that you understood early on were going to be important to the overall scheme of things and really contribute to your success going forward. You look back on all those little building blocks, they're powerfully important to where you are today, aren't they?
They were. And, think about where it started. Marty Wilson, going out fishing with him and my dad in Bay Point, and him seeing some of my photos that I took with a disposable camera. He's like, you got an eye for this stuff. And then the one time you sat down with me, we were at, when Gornflows was at the end of the main dock before it got washed away. I pulled out a photo album and you looked at me and said, you need to do something with this. And I still have those photo albums. And if you want to see what you look like in jean shorts catching a kingfish, I've got that on record.
Uh-huh.
But, I always go back to that, you saying, hey, you need to do something with this. And I didn't want to sell photos, but I wanted to use it as a way to, tell the story. And that was pre-social media, and it just exploded. So, every event I do has its own set of Instagram and Facebook handles. And now we've created an X platform called for classic fishing events, based in the last few weeks, where you can see every little thing that we have going on coming out on this one platform.
Wow, and that's what you need to do, and I predict that it will find a tremendous following, because as you pointed out, I like the way you said it a minute ago. It's not just the people who own the boats and the people who fish with them and the people who support them. The way you said it was, I think, unique, because I've seen this with my own eyes with tournaments that I've been involved with for so many years. And that is, some people just want to be in the vicinity of it, they just want to hang with the guys and walk the docks and, gamble next to them and just take it all in. It's a total experience, isn't it?
It is. And so, you come down to the weigh-in and you see like the McClellan family, these people from Pensacola that helped us start the events. And you see my children out there. It becomes generational. And I want to bring my friends and my kids. that's what makes it so much fun. It's more than camaraderie. It's very family oriented. And so when we grow it, those are the things that we want to hit on. Is like, okay, when we do this event next year, what do we have for the kids? What do we have for the wives? How do we keep this, entrenched in the community? And
what's interesting,
I love the area in which we live.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah, what's interesting is this date dates back a lot of years. I mean, even before I started having kids. In fact, having kids was the thing that stopped me from fishing tournaments again. We would do one every now and then, but our priorities change. But you go back and think about it, as we were talking about a few minutes ago, how Alec Capri sort of latched onto this. Thankfully for your father and the way he get everybody to buy into this, and then the golden nugget today. What's interesting is that it stayed that being sort of the center of the fishing tournament universe in coastal Mississippi for so many years. How is that? I mean, you would think that new managers would come in and say, we're not going to focus as much on that, or we're not. What's been the glue that kept all that together?
My dad.
All these years.
He is. He's, being like a community liaison. He's friends with everyone and their grandma. But we have rotated through GMs of the casino. Not everyone has shared the same opinion as us. It's hard for them to relate. So having my dad around to walk them through it and get them acclimated and really help them enjoy what was going on and embrace, it's huge. It's not just people coming to town to go fish and then they leave. They leave a mark. They spend a lot of money. Everyone benefits when this thing comes to town.
So Robbie, one the interesting part is that, of course, I have a digital media background and also was a publisher of a newspaper, so I understand the advertising side of it, both in terms of print and then what you can do digitally. One thing that you can't, it'd be interesting. I don't know. Actually, I'm curious if you've done this, but you think about the social media, the organic social media that evolves from an event like this, and how Golden Nugget is sort of centered to that, and coastal Mississippi is centered to that. The ancillary benefit of all that organic digital muscle, the value you put on that that's millions of dollars. Well, hey, tell you what, when we get back on the other side, we'll pick it up from there and finish up our conversation in the final segment with Robbie Carter. We'll see you after this. Welcome back to the Ricky Matthews Show from the Citizens Bank studio. I'm enjoying my conversation with Robbie Carter. It comes natural to me, Robbie, because, Terry and I fish tournaments literally for over 20 years together. We did it all. And even after I had kids and whatever, he continued to do the Pro Series for SKA, and he would tow that boat to North Carolina and South Carolina and Georgia and Key West. I mean, I would join him from time to time, but there was no way I could commit to the kind of schedule he was doing. But I loved the culture of it all. It was just fun to me. And as we were discussing when we went to break, now that you've got the social media piece to this, the opportunity to put an event like this on steroids and just show people, specifically as it relates to coastal Mississippi, that we've got a beach, we've got great marinas, we've got gaming here and other things to do, and we have some of the best fishing in the world here. The benefit of being able to do that, it pays huge dividends for coastal Mississippi, doesn't it?
It does. That's why one of the bigger supporters. That's what we want to do. For coastal Mississippi is we want to bring in outsiders, show them what we have, and build up that recurring revenue in the community. Because when they come to, say, one of our fishing tournaments, they're probably coming back 4 or 5 more times throughout the year for miscellaneous reasons, whether entertaining clients, shopping, or just passing through, want to stop in and grab some food downtown.
Yeah, you've seen it all. You were telling me during the break about someone who came here and visited. Tell that story.
So, I've got my mom's side of the family is from St. Louis, and they came, a few family members came down to visit. I hadn't seen them in about 20 years. And they've been, they see what we do on social media, because, it's kind of hard to avoid. But they're like, give us a taste of the town. So, I have an old wooden lugger. It's called a Lily Faith. I keep it in Ocean Springs Harbor. And we took them out for a boat ride, went down Casino Row, and they got back. We went downtown Ocean Springs, took them on a golf cart ride, showed them the different shops. They went out to eat. They did some shopping. They went to the casinos. They did a show. When they went back to St. Louis and told other family members, they're like, you guys really have it going on down there. It's all self-contained. And we love it. It's a very special place. It's an awesome place to raise children because it's got a little bit of everything. We've got a beautiful beach. And just look at the drive. They actually stayed in Gulfport. So when we had entertainment at night in downtown Ocean Springs, they'd take that long beach drive, and there's nothing like it in the world. That's very special to us.
It is. Listen, after Katrina, I talked about this. I had the opportunity to lead the tourism recovery planning efforts for Governor Barber after Katrina. And one of the things I would say in the speeches would be, in spite of all of the devastation, when you look south on Highway 90, when you're looking south and toward the water, we want the beaches to be cleaned as quickly as possible because we want to be able to see this unencumbered view south. Even though what was behind us might be destroyed, it would be a reminder of why we have to rebuild this place and all of that. And it was just so special. Highway 90 is unique. It's where you have, live oak, tree-lined highway. That's one of the reasons cruising the coast is so darn successful, man. I mean, year after year, the top car event in America. I mean, there's no mystery about that. People who come here and get to experience that drive, that unencumbered view south. What a special thing it is. It's easy for us to take it for granted, but when new people come here, they go, good Lord, man, what in the world do you guys have here? It's that special, isn't it?
Well, we live where people vacation. And that's what my family members had said that weren't from here. Like people come from all over the world to this town. You're out cruising the coast. When those engines start roaring early in the week, it's like, wow, these people came from God knows where because they wanted to see what we had to offer, and they don't want to leave. Yeah. And sometimes they come back and buy a home. So,
one of the things I remember about the tournaments and the people of fishing tournaments are amazing people, really good people. You think a lot of them are rich and whatever, but they're not. They're just good people. Rarely you're going to find one that's a real butt. I mean, they just come in and they bring their families and they bring their friends and they have a great time and they treat you well and they spend a lot of money. And that's true, isn't it?
They're here to get away from all of that. So, for many years, a lot of these guys, showing up in these big fancy boats, I had no idea what they did for a living, nor did I care. That's not why they were here. It's to show off what they did for work. This was an outlet for fun. It was their favorite pastime. That's why they're bringing their buddies, their wives and kids. It was an escape, especially like during COVID. We didn't stop. They wanted to go fishing. It just brings a good feeling. They don't want to talk about work. That's not why they're here.
But you have met, as a result, some of the most successful people in America, haven't you?
Oh, yeah. You talk about a Rolodex in your phone. Yeah. I'd like to compare notes.
Yeah, yours is many years old, that's for sure. So, Robbie, it's been awesome to spend some time with you, man. Tell your father we said hello. I have to get him on the show once and go back to the beginning.
He's down at the casino now doing interviews with the news stations, just telling everyone what's going on this week. But next time we do this, because there will be many more times that we do this,
we'll bring him on. We'll get him to join us.
I'm here for you, buddy.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, listen, it's been a pleasure, my friend.
You got it.
Keep up the great work. I'm very proud of you. This has been Robbie Carter, who does tournaments all over America, especially here in coastal Mississippi. Listen, have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.